commercial real estate crisis of 2024 is going to be a doozy, Michael Snyder reports. Over the last several years, we've seen commercial real estate values plummet dramatically all over the United States. One of the reasons why this is happening is because millions of Americans started working from home during the pandemic, and many of them never returned to the office once the pandemic subsided. Another reason is why this is happening is because there has been a mass exodus of businesses from our core urban areas. Conditions have rapidly deteriorated in many of our larger cities, and it's exceedingly difficult to run a profitable business in the midst of an environment of constant theft and violence. Ultimately, it's very easy to understand why commercial real estate values have crashed, and they will almost certainly go even lower. Needless to say, this is a very big problem for financial institutions that are sitting on lots of commercial real estate loans. Many of those loans have already gone bad, and more are going bad with each passing day. A commercial real estate crisis of epic proportions is already here, and we will see many financial institutions fail in the months ahead. At this moment, New York Community Bancorp finds itself in the center of the storm. The bank's credit rating was just reduced to junk status. Yes, junk status, and it's desperately trying to reassure everyone that it's going to be able to survive. New York Community Bancorp, NYCB, is attempting to reassure investors about its deposits, liquidity, and governance following a week-long plunge in the company's stock and a decision by Moody's to cut the bank's credit rating to junk. The $116 billion commercial real estate lender put out a press release just before midnight ET on Tuesday following the Moody's downgrade, showing total deposits were up since the end of 2023 and that its total liquidity of $37.3 billion exceeded its level of uninsured deposits. Of course, the market is not buying this. Shares of New York Community Bancorp have been crashing, and they fell even more on Wednesday after the press release was put out. The comments did little to lift the crisis rolling out one of the country's top 30 banks that has deepened with each day. Its stock has fallen by nearly 60% since it surprised Wall Street on January 31st by slashing its dividend and reporting a net quarterly loss of $252 million. The price continued to slide by more than 13% after the market opened Wednesday, but that sell-off began to ease around noon. Of course, New York Community Bancorp is not the only institution that is hurting. At this point, hundreds of U.S. banks find themselves in deep trouble, and banking stocks have been falling on a widespread basis over the past week. The KBW NASDAQ Regional Banking Index, a collection of mid-sized bank stocks, has fallen nearly 12% in the past week, as investors worry about lenders' exposure to commercial real estate loan portfolios. Will the federal government soon feel compelled to intervene in this? On Tuesday, Janet Yellen admitted to members of Congress that there is a problem, but she insisted that it is manageable. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers Tuesday that she had concerns about the exposure of some banks to commercial real estate, and she said, "I believe it's manageable, although there may be some institutions that are quite stressed by this problem." Yeah, we'll see if they are able to contain the damage or not. Interestingly, a key program that was put in place last year to prop up the banks is scheduled to expire March 11. On March 11th, the Fed Bank Term Funding Program will stop making especially low interest rate loans to distressed lenders. The program was established last year amid the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank to help lenders shore up their finances on the cheap and restore the public's confidence in the wider banking system. Meanwhile, the commercial real estate turmoil in the United States is also having a tremendous impact on banks on the other side of the planet. For example, shares of the 16th biggest bank in Japan have been crashing because some of their U.S. office tower loans are going bad. Just last week, Aozora Bank, the 16th largest in Japan by market value, saw shares crash after slashing the value of some of its U.S. office tower loans by more than 50%. In Germany, Deutsche Bank AG is now in very hot water due to commercial real estate loans that it has made in the United States. The troubles in the U.S. commercial property market, which have already hit banks in New York and Japan, moved to Europe this week, elevating fears about broader contagion. The latest victim was Germany's Deutsche Bank AG, which saw its bond slump on concern about its exposure to the sector. It responded by issuing an unscheduled statement Wednesday that it had increased provisions because of the persistent weakness of the real estate markets. Most Americans have never heard of Deutsche Bank AG, but Germany's largest bank is very well known, and at this point Deutsche Bank is facing enormous losses due to potential defaults on its U.S. commercial real estate loans. Germany's biggest lender, Deutsche Bank, said last week that it had allocated 123 million euros, that's $133 million, during the fourth quarter of last year to absorb potential defaults on its U.S. commercial real estate loans, and that's more than quadruple the amount it set aside during the same 3-month period in 2022. I've been watching Deutsche Bank for a long time. Could it be possible that they're finally nearing a point of no return? I believe that we're going to see so much financial chaos this year, and as I discussed yesterday, in such an environment it's wise not to put all of your eggs in one basket. You don't want to wake up some morning and realize that all of your assets are trapped in an institution that has just failed. If just a handful of banks fail as this crisis rolls along, the federal government will probably be able to handle that. But if a dozen or hundreds of them start falling, we're moving into unprecedented times, and during the years ahead we're going to see things happen that we have never seen before. So enjoy the relative prosperity that we are experiencing today while you still can, because it will disappear way too quickly, Michael Snyder reports on the Economic Collapse blog. And this is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, my name is Michael Snyder, extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos, available on paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish his articles on their own websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and sharing his articles on your own social media accounts is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.